The following program is a production of Pioneer Public Television. Major support for Compass is provided by the ongoing support of the Leo P. Flynn Estate of Millbank, South Dakota. Additional support is provided by the Southwest Minnesota Private Industry Council, promoting Southwest Minnesota as a place rich with opportunity. Come for the jobs, stay for the lifestyle. More information at swmnpic.org.
Hello and welcome to Compass, a production of Pioneer Public Television. I'm Les Heen, your host for Compass. This is a weekly discussion of public policy and important issues facing our viewing area. This week, we will discuss how the challenges of finding housing in rural areas are going. We'll have representatives from the Minnesota Department of Human Services and also from Essence Property Management Incorporated. We'll touch on what some of the challenges are and the trends are and how the housing market is changing. And that'll include some discussion of aging and affordable housing issues. First, Pioneer's Laura K. Prosser is taking you to Worthington, where the Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership is working to improve housing in that part of the state. Here's Laura's report.
For small towns and rural areas, renting or selling housing is tough, and building new is even more difficult in today's housing market. But CEO of Southwest Minnesota Housing Partnership, Rick Goodyman, is here to tell us about Worthington's own efforts to improve their own housing market and what steps other communities can take to form similar partnerships. Rick, welcome.
Thank you, Laura. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
Rick, why don't you tell us a little bit about your partnership with Worthington?
Sure. Our partnership started in Worthington in 1997. The Housing Partnership was formed in 1992, so about 5 years after we were formed, we started working with Worthington. And the way it started is Worthington contacted us and said there was a housing issue. It was primarily around economic development and workforce housing. So there were labor shortages, there were housing shortages, which were making it tough for employers to attract employees to come into the community and to live there.
And so you got involved and did what for the community? You built this housing project.
So what we really started doing with Worthington and a lot of communities we work with is we really need to understand the housing market, and we also feel the local community needs to understand the housing market. Mm-hmm. So we go through a general planning process. So the first thing we'll do is we'll work with the city to either find the resources or help them commission a housing study. Mm-hmm. And what the housing study does is it identifies all the voids within all the different housing markets, whether it's demographic driven or income driven, and what really are what the issues are behind that. In the case of Worthington, it's a broad-based type of shortage of housing. It impacts a lot of different levels. Some of the existing housing is not really suitable for large families that are coming in to take jobs. Other parts of the housing market were older, needed a lot of repairs. And when you have people that are entering the job force and have lower wage jobs, they're unable to both afford a housing payment and make the repairs. So we really looked at this as a multiple pronged type of issue. On the other side of it, the housing that's there needed to be preserved. So we looked at different types of strategies to both improve the for sale owner occupied housing in the community, and we did a number of different grants involving federal resources to offer 0% deferred loans to individuals who wanted to repair their homes. We also brought in money to both acquire and rehab existing rental housing. So the project here is Viking Terrace. This is a project we acquired in 2004 that was very run down. So it was a 60-unit project with project-based rental assistance. So that means that a certain number of the tenants, because it wasn't 100%, paid 30% of their income towards the housing. It did house a lot of low-income working families and a lot of large families.
So now, this Vikings project, what kind of pushed you towards this specific project?
The project was blighted, and we were getting information from our planning sessions, also from the city, that it was a priority project. So we decided to intervene. So we talked to the owner, we acquired the property, and then we put all the investment in it.
Now, most people, and speaking as a renter myself, I'd be worried, how is this affordable?
Affordability is really right now being driven by subsidies that we get from the federal, state, and local sources, as well as our own resources that we can put into the project. So in the case of Viking Terrace or Grand Terrace, which is our new project that's under construction in Worthington, that's relying on low-income housing tax credits. Low-income housing tax credits are allocated from the federal government to the state government. The state government does an RFP process. We apply for those funds, and we may or may not receive an allocation of credits, but when we do receive an allocation of tax credits, we then transfer those to investors who come in as limited partners in the project. Okay. They pay a certain amount for those tax credits, and that comes in as equity into the property, meaning that it does not have any payment, it's not amortizing, and it just comes in to reduce the cost of development by bringing in this equity into the project, which means that our rents are lower because we have less debt that we have to amortize and pay back. So in the case of Grand Terrace, it's a 48-unit development, large units. It'll have a community space. It's being constructed across from where the old mall was. So it will be an integrated type of a project, working closely with the city and also with JBS, who is the largest employer in the community that has provided a lot of assistance, particularly financial assistance, in all of the developments we've done in Worthington since 2000, which is a lot of different development, both rental, preservation, and for sale housing.
Now, for other communities that are looking to maybe form a similar partnership like Worthington has with you guys, what would you recommend for them to start with?
It really starts with understanding yourself. So understand what your needs are, understand what potential growth scenarios are for job growth, understand your transportation corridors, understand what you have to work with, and then forming within the community itself really an understanding of where you want to go. What is the vision? What do you want to do? What are your opportunities? And what are the challenges? And the communities that have been successful at this, first off, understand themselves well, can work together to facilitate action plans and raising the types of resources they need, as well as attracting other types of developers and other groups that can help them to move forward. So a lot of it is being open to new ideas and being willing to look out beyond the community to what's working in other places. It's really just figure out the plan and go from there.
That makes complete sense. That's it for us in Worthington, Minnesota. I'm producer Laura K. Prosser. Back to Les in the studio.